Ladies and gentlemen, life can feel overwhelming, especially when we're caught in the endless cycle of day-to-day survival. It's all too easy to find excuses to convince ourselves that we'll make changes tomorrow or that we'll tackle our flaws once the right moment arrives. But there is no perfect time, no ideal conditions. If you don't take control now, you risk losing the opportunity for meaningful change. Time doesn't wait for anyone, and the longer you delay, the more difficult it becomes to alter your course. At this very moment, you have the power to transform your life. But it requires something that many people avoid: a hard look at yourself. It requires the willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths that lie beneath the surface. It's about realizing that if you don't take action today, you may never get another chance. The first step towards fixing yourself is admitting that you need to change and committing to do the work. Only then can you prevent regret and make sure that the future you face is one that you can be proud of. There is a truth we must all confront. Whether we like it or not, your life as it stands right now is a direct reflection of the choices you've made up until this point. Every decision, every action, and every inaction has led you here. And while you might be tempted to blame others, the system, or the circumstances around you, the reality is that you are the one who must own the outcome of your life. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you can begin to take charge of your future. Personal responsibility is the foundation of true freedom. It is the understanding that you alone are accountable for how your life unfolds. External forces, the opinions of others, and past experiences will always be factors, but they don't define who you are unless you allow them to. If you constantly find yourself blaming other people or circumstances for your misfortune, you are ceding your power to change. When you refuse to take responsibility, you become a passive observer in your own life, and that's a dangerous place to be. In order to live authentically, you must accept that the person staring back at you in the mirror is the one who must make the decisions that will lead to growth. Taking responsibility does not mean you are to blame for everything that has happened to you. It does not mean accepting guilt or guilt alone. It's about recognizing that no matter how you got here, you have the power to change the trajectory of your life moving forward. The idea that life just happens to you is one of the most disempowering beliefs you can hold. The truth is, life is what you make of it, and it is shaped by your choices. Once you take full responsibility for your life, you open the door to taking action, to taking control, and to ultimately transforming your circumstances. When you own your responsibility, it changes everything. You begin to see yourself as an active participant in your life rather than a passive victim of external circumstances. The shift from victimhood to ownership is radical because it opens up the possibility of change. You are no longer stuck in the trap of what's happening to me and are empowered to ask, what can I do about this? This is not to say that your struggles are not real or that hardships are not part of the journey, but it is to say that how you respond to them is entirely up to you. Let's look at one of the most difficult areas to take responsibility for: our past mistakes. So often people hold on to past failures, mistakes, and regrets. They cling to the idea that the things they've done or failed to do will always define them. But here's the truth: you cannot change the past. No amount of regret, self-pity, or dwelling on your failures will alter the decisions you made yesterday. What you can change, however, is your attitude toward those experiences and how you use them to inform your future decisions. Instead of letting your mistakes drag you down, you must use them as lessons. What did they teach you? How did they shape you? Taking responsibility for your past mistakes means acknowledging them, learning from them, and making the conscious decision not to repeat them. Another critical aspect of personal responsibility is your relationship with time. The modern world is full of distractions: social media, entertainment, the constant pull of quick gratification. These distractions often create a sense of time slipping away, and before you know it, months or years have passed without any meaningful change. Taking responsibility for your life means taking control of your time. You must ask yourself, am I using my time wisely? Am I investing it in things that will contribute to my growth? Too many people squander their days not realizing that the clock is ticking. The simple truth is this: if you don't take responsibility for your time, it will slip away and you'll find yourself wondering where it all went. Your environment plays a major role in personal responsibility. Who do you spend time with? What are the influences around you? Are you surrounding yourself with people who lift you up or those who drag you down? It's easy to blame your circumstances for your lack of progress, but often it's the people you associate with that hold you back. Taking responsibility means recognizing when certain relationships are toxic and taking the necessary steps to distance yourself from them. It also means cultivating relationships that support your growth, people who challenge you, encourage you, and hold you accountable. You can't control the behavior of others, but you can control who you allow into your life and how much weight their opinions carry. To take personal responsibility is to take control of your life. It is to stop seeing yourself as a passenger and start seeing yourself as the driver. When you take responsibility for your choices, your environment, and your time, you create a sense of agency. You understand that you have the power to make a change, to correct your course, and to lead yourself towards something better. Taking responsibility is hard, though. It requires courage. It requires honesty. It requires you to look at yourself with a level of scrutiny that many would rather avoid. But it is only by taking that hard look, by accepting where you are and where you've come from, that you can begin to build the life you want. You don't have to be perfect, but you must be honest with yourself. And the more honest you are, the more you can accomplish. The harder you work to fix what is within your control, the better your life will become. It is time to take responsibility, and only when you do will you truly begin to see the changes you're seeking. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of personal growth, yet it's often one of the most neglected aspects of self-improvement. Without it, we remain trapped in a cycle of ignorance, where our actions are dictated by unconscious patterns rather than conscious decisions. The first step towards fixing yourself before it's too late is understanding who you really are. It's easy to become lost in the noise of daily life, to get distracted by external expectations and the opinions of others. But until you make the effort to turn inward, to explore the depths of your own mind and heart, you will never fully comprehend the reasons behind your behaviors and choices. To be self-aware means to understand not only what you do, but also why you do it. It's about recognizing the underlying thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that drive your actions. Most people go through life without ever taking the time to ask themselves these difficult questions. Instead, they act on autopilot, responding to situations in predictable ways, driven by deep-seated fears, past experiences, and societal conditioning. But this is no way to live, it's merely existing. The path to true fulfillment begins when you consciously examine yourself, when you take the time to understand your motivations and confront the truths that lie beneath the surface. And self-awareness allows you to identify your strengths and weaknesses, but more importantly, it gives you the opportunity to work on the areas where you need to grow. How many times have you failed to recognize a flaw in yourself, only to later discover it in an argument or a difficult situation? We all have blind spots, things about ourselves that we refuse to acknowledge, whether because they are too painful or because we fear they might be too hard to change. But it's these very blind spots that prevent us from advancing in life. It's these weaknesses, left unchecked, that can sabotage our relationships, careers, and overall well-being. By embracing self-awareness, you begin to uncover these hidden parts of yourself, the ones that need attention and healing. The patterns in our lives that keep us stuck. Perhaps you notice that you keep making the same mistakes, or that you often find yourself in unhealthy relationships, or that you never seem to follow through on your goals. These patterns are not random. They are the result of deep psychological factors, habits, fears, and unresolved issues that influence how you react to situations. By becoming self-aware, you can step back from the situation and observe your behavior without judgment. You can start to notice the triggers that set off destructive patterns and choose to respond differently. This ability to reflect, pause, and reconsider is what gives you the power to break free from old, limiting ways of thinking and behaving. Self-awareness also enables us to develop emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize and manage our emotions in a healthy way. Many people react impulsively when faced with stress, conflict, or disappointment. These knee-jerk reactions often lead to regret, as we act out of fear or frustration without considering the long-term consequences. But when you are self-aware, you can pause before responding. You can assess the situation, understand the emotions you're feeling, and choose how to act in a way that aligns with your values and goals. This ability to regulate your emotions rather than letting them control you is a critical skill for navigating life's challenges with grace and composure. One of the most powerful benefits of self-awareness is that it fosters greater authenticity. When you are self-aware, you become less concerned with the opinions of others because you understand who you are and what you stand for. You stop seeking external validation and start making decisions based on what feels true to you. The pressure to conform to social expectations diminishes when you have a clear understanding of your own values, desires, and goals. As a result, you become more confident, more assertive, and more capable of building a life that reflects your true self, not the version of yourself that others want you to be. But self-awareness also has a darker side, facing the uncomfortable truths about yourself. There's a reason why so many people avoid introspection. It can be confronting, even painful. When you look at yourself honestly, you may discover things about your behavior, your past, or your attitudes that you'd rather not face. These truths can be uncomfortable and even unsettling, but they are necessary. They are the raw materials from which transformation is made. The process of becoming self-aware requires you to confront not only your strengths, but also your flaws, fears, and past mistakes. It's only by facing these uncomfortable truths head-on that you can make the necessary changes that will allow you to grow. Denial may feel safer in the short term, but it only prolongs your suffering. It's only when you accept yourself fully, both the light and the dark, that you can move forward in a way that is true to who you are. Self-awareness isn't a one-time event or something you achieve overnight. It is an ongoing process, a continual journey of introspection and growth. Every experience, every challenge, and every mistake is an opportunity to deepen your understanding of yourself. As you grow older, you may find that your understanding of yourself evolves. You may discover new facets of your personality, your desires, or your goals. This is normal. It's part of the process. The key is to stay open to learning more about yourself, to never become complacent, and to always strive to become the best version of who you are capable of being. The journey of self-awareness is one of the most transformative and rewarding paths you can take. It is not easy, and it does not come without its challenges, but it is essential if you are to truly fix yourself before it's too late. It's the key that unlocks the door to lasting change. Procrastination is a silent thief that robs us of time, potential, and opportunity. It starts small, often with an innocent excuse, "I'll do it later," or "I just need a little more time to think." But over time, those small delays accumulate, and before you know it, months, even years, have passed without any real progress. Procrastination has a way of deceiving us into believing that tomorrow will somehow be better or that we will feel more motivated in the future. But the truth is, if you keep waiting for the right time, you will find that time has slipped away and you are left with nothing but regrets. The problem with procrastination is that it convinces us that we are in control, when in reality it's the procrastination itself that is in control. It feeds off of your fear, your uncertainty, and your doubts. Every time you choose to delay an important task, you are giving power to the part of you that wants to avoid discomfort. It's easy to tell yourself that you need more time, more information, or better circumstances to begin a project, but in reality, there will never be a perfect moment. The truth is, you'll never feel ready, at least not in the way you expect. Procrastination keeps you stuck in a cycle of waiting, where nothing ever gets done, and the things you want to accomplish remain out of reach. This behavior is rooted in fear of failure, fear of inadequacy, and fear of facing the unknown. Procrastination gives us an illusion of safety because it delays the moment of discomfort. But that moment is always coming, whether we want to face it or not. The longer you put something off, the more daunting it becomes. What starts as a small task can grow into something much larger and more intimidating. And because we haven't taken action, the anxiety surrounding it grows as well. This cycle continues, and over time, procrastination becomes more than just a bad habit. It becomes a life pattern that undermines your ability to achieve anything meaningful. Another danger of procrastination is the way it erodes our sense of self-discipline and self-respect. Every time you put something off, you are reinforcing a pattern of avoidance. This pattern weakens your ability to follow through on your commitments. At first, it may seem like you're just taking a break or waiting for the right moment, but over time, it leads to a lack of trust in yourself. When you continuously break promises to yourself, whether they are big or small, you chip away at your self-esteem. You start to doubt your ability to get things done and question your competence. This undermines your sense of agency, and soon it becomes harder to motivate yourself to do anything at all. You become trapped in a cycle of inaction that only deepens over time. Procrastination also prevents you from experiencing the satisfaction and growth that come from taking action. When you delay things, you rob yourself of the opportunity to progress. There is a unique satisfaction that comes from completing a task, from taking on a challenge and seeing it through to the end. When you procrastinate, you delay that satisfaction. You delay the feeling of accomplishment that reinforces your sense of capability. This delay can also have ripple effects on your other goals. When you avoid one thing, you may find yourself avoiding other things as well. The longer you wait, the more tasks pile up and the more overwhelming everything seems. Eventually, the sheer weight of all that uncompleted work can make it even harder to begin. And let's not forget the external consequences of procrastination. While it may seem like a personal issue, procrastination affects not just you, but the people around you. Whether it's a work project, a personal relationship, or a commitment to a friend, procrastination undermines trust. People rely on you to follow through, and when you don't, it can create friction in relationships. The longer you procrastinate, the harder it becomes to maintain the confidence of those around you. And this, in turn, increases your stress because now you're not only dealing with the tasks you've delayed, but also the guilt and anxiety of letting others down. The stress it creates, procrastination also feeds into a larger issue, the accumulation of missed opportunities. Life doesn't wait for you to catch up. The more you put things off, the more chances you lose. Every time you delay, you lose a moment, an opportunity to learn, to grow, or to move forward. Procrastination makes you blind to the opportunities right in front of you, keeping you stuck in a loop of indecision and inaction. This is why, over time, it can feel like time is slipping through your fingers. You wonder why you're not where you thought you would be, why you're still facing the same challenges, why your dreams seem just as far out of reach as they did years ago. The answer is simple: the delay of action has cost you more than you realize. The problem with procrastination is that it's not just a delay of action, it's a delay of life. Every moment that passes without action is a moment lost. Your life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the only shot you get. Every choice you make, every moment you waste is one you can't get back. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to reclaim that lost time, and the more opportunities slip away. It's easy to fall into the trap of procrastination, to tell yourself that you'll get to it tomorrow, or that you just need a little more time to think. But in reality, you're putting off the things that will truly move you forward, the things that will change your life. Procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. It keeps you from being the person you could be and from accomplishing the things you are capable of. The more you procrastinate, the more you reinforce your own inability to take charge of your life. But the good news is that you have the power to change. Every moment you spend procrastinating is another moment you can choose to take action. It starts with the decision to stop waiting for the perfect time and to start moving forward, no matter how small the step. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to have all the answers. What matters is that you start, and you start now. Discipline is the bridge between your aspirations and your reality. It's the internal strength that forces you to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's easy to talk about dreams, goals, and desires, but the harsh truth is that none of those things will materialize without the discipline to back them up. Without discipline, you will always be a prisoner of your whims and emotions, constantly pulled in different directions by the tides of fleeting desires. And when life demands that you show up, whether it's for your work, your family, or your personal growth, your ability to stay disciplined will determine whether you succeed or fail. Discipline is about making decisions in alignment with your long-term goals rather than your immediate desires. It's about understanding that the short-term discomfort of doing something you don't want to do is a necessary step toward the long-term rewards you seek. This is where habits come into play. Your habits, those small, often unconscious actions you perform every day, have a profound impact on your life. They define who you are, and over time, they determine your success or failure. The way you spend your time, how you prioritize your responsibilities, and the routines you create all contribute to the trajectory of your life. And while it may seem trivial in the moment, the small habits you form will either elevate or limit you. The question is, are you forming habits that are working for you or against you? Habits are the compound interest of personal growth. Small, positive actions performed consistently over time lead to dramatic results. Think of them as the building blocks of a successful life. A person who gets up every day and spends 30 minutes reading or exercising may not see immediate, noticeable results, but over the course of a year, those habits will accumulate. They will change not only your body, but also your mind, your energy levels, and your outlook on life. The power of habits lies in their cumulative effect. What seems insignificant today becomes extraordinary tomorrow when done consistently. However, the opposite is also true. Bad habits such as procrastination, negative thinking, or avoidance compound as well, pulling you further away from your potential. If you don't actively cultivate positive habits, the default is often to fall into patterns that sabotage your growth. One of the most challenging aspects of discipline is the ability to stay consistent. We live in a world that constantly pulls us in multiple directions. There's always something else to do, always another distraction waiting to grab our attention. It's easy to convince yourself that you'll do something tomorrow, that the effort required today can be put off. But tomorrow never comes and the task remains undone. Success in life is built on the ability to show up, even when you don't feel like it. This is where the importance of discipline comes in. Discipline ensures that regardless of how you feel, you show up anyway. It's the ability to commit to your goals and stick with them no matter the obstacles or setbacks. To develop discipline, you need to first understand why you want to achieve your goals in the first place. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to do something you don't care about. It's about creating a plan that aligns with your deeper values and desires. When your goals are tied to something meaningful, when they represent a future that you truly want, discipline becomes a tool, not a burden. It's much easier to stay disciplined when you know why you're doing something. Your goals must have purpose, and that purpose must drive you when motivation wanes. Building habits that support your goals also requires a level of self-awareness. It's not enough to simply want to change. You must understand your own patterns and triggers. What are the actions you take when you feel stressed, tired, or overwhelmed? Do you turn to distractions like social media, food, or mindless entertainment to avoid discomfort? Self-awareness gives you the insight needed to break those patterns. Once you recognize the behaviors that derail your progress, you can replace them with healthier alternatives. This is where discipline becomes a choice, not an obligation. Instead of falling into old habits, you can actively choose to replace them with ones that move you forward. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is by creating small, achievable goals that build momentum. The bigger the goal, the more overwhelming it can seem, which is why we often procrastinate or avoid taking action. When you break a large goal into smaller tasks, it feels more manageable. Each small victory you achieve boosts your confidence and reinforces the belief that you can succeed. These small wins help build the muscle of discipline over time, making it easier to continue pushing forward. Another critical aspect of discipline is understanding that setbacks are inevitable. No one achieves success without facing challenges, and it's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. But discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about staying committed in the face of adversity. When you fail, as you inevitably will at times, you have a choice. You can let the failure define you, or you can use it as a learning experience and continue moving forward. The most disciplined people are not those who never fail. They are the ones who keep going after failure, who understand that each setback is an opportunity to improve. Habits also require a level of accountability. It's difficult to stay disciplined when you're working alone without anyone to answer to. That's why it's helpful to have a system of accountability, whether it's a mentor, a friend, or even tracking your progress. When you know someone is watching, or when you can see the results of your effort on paper, it becomes much harder to skip out on your commitments. This accountability helps you maintain the discipline needed to keep moving forward, even when motivation fades. Discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. Without it, your goals are just dreams, and your dreams will remain out of reach. It's not enough to want change, you must put in the work. Habits, whether positive or negative, will shape the course of your life. You are what you repeatedly do, and so it is vital to ensure that the habits you cultivate are those that will move you closer to your goals. The choice is yours. You can live by the whims of your impulses and desires, or you can choose to live with discipline and purpose, shaping your future with every decision you make. The ability to face discomfort is one of the most crucial aspects of personal growth, yet it is also one of the hardest things to learn. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding discomfort, seeking comfort and ease at every turn. We avoid difficult conversations, shy away from challenging situations, and retreat from anything that might stir up fear or anxiety. But here's the reality: discomfort is not something to be feared, it is something to be embraced. It is only by facing discomfort head-on that you can truly grow, learn, and evolve into the person you are meant to be. The world we live in has become increasingly focused on comfort and convenience. With technology, entertainment, and instant gratification at our fingertips, it's easy to slip into a life of passivity and avoidance. We can scroll through social media for hours, binge watch TV shows, and order food with the click of a button, all without ever leaving our homes or confronting any uncomfortable emotions or situations. But this pursuit of comfort comes at a cost. It numbs us to the world around us, prevents us from facing our fears, and keeps us stuck in a perpetual state of mediocrity. Avoiding discomfort may offer temporary relief, but it does not bring long-term fulfillment or growth. The truth is, discomfort is essential for progress. Every significant achievement, every meaningful change comes from stepping out of your comfort zone and facing the unknown. Whether it's starting a new career, having a difficult conversation, or taking on a new challenge, growth only happens when you push yourself past the limits of what feels safe. Every time you step into the discomfort zone, you are expanding your capacity, building resilience, and developing the skills necessary to overcome future challenges. Avoiding discomfort, on the other hand, creates stagnation, keeping you stuck in the same patterns and preventing you from reaching your full potential. One of the most common forms of discomfort is fear, the fear of failure, rejection, or making a mistake. Fear is natural. It is a primal response to perceived danger, meant to protect us from harm. But in the modern world, most of the things we fear are not life-threatening. The fear of failure, for example, is not a physical danger, but an emotional one. It's the fear of looking bad, of being judged, or of not living up to expectations. But the problem with letting fear control your actions is that it prevents you from taking risks, trying new things, and ultimately growing. The key to overcoming fear is not to avoid it, but to confront it. By facing the things you fear, you not only build courage, but also learn that failure is not the end of the world. In fact, failure is often the best teacher. It shows you what doesn't work, helps you refine your approach, and builds your resilience for the future. Another form of discomfort that many people shy away from is emotional discomfort. Emotions like sadness, anger, and frustration can be incredibly difficult to face. It's easy to suppress them, distract yourself from them, or push them aside. But this avoidance only leads to emotional numbness and greater turmoil down the road. Emotions are a natural part of the human experience, and they are meant to be felt and processed. By ignoring them, you deny yourself the opportunity to learn from them and to heal. Facing emotional discomfort allows you to understand your feelings, process them in a healthy way, and emerge stronger. It's through experiencing and confronting our emotions that we develop emotional intelligence, a critical skill for navigating life's challenges. Facing discomfort also requires a willingness to confront the truths about yourself that you may not want to acknowledge. We all have blind spots, parts of ourselves that we refuse to see or address. Maybe it's an aspect of your personality that you don't like, a habit that holds you back, or a past mistake that continues to haunt you. These uncomfortable truths can be painful to face, but they are necessary for growth. The longer you avoid them, the longer you will remain stuck in a state of denial and inaction. Facing these uncomfortable truths is not about self-criticism, it's about self-awareness and growth. When you can acknowledge the things about yourself that need to change, you open the door to transformation. It's only by accepting who you are, flaws and all, that you can begin the process of becoming who you want to be. Facing discomfort also involves embracing the discomfort of uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control every outcome is not only impossible but also counterproductive. Many people avoid making decisions or taking action because they fear the uncertainty of the future. They want guarantees, assurances, and a clear roadmap. But life doesn't offer those things. The more you try to avoid uncertainty, the more you limit your potential. True growth happens in the spaces where there is no clear path, where you have to figure things out as you go. The discomfort of uncertainty forces you to be resourceful, creative, and adaptable. It challenges you to step into the unknown and trust in your ability to figure things out along the way. It's important to recognize that discomfort doesn't always come in the form of failure or fear. Sometimes it comes in the form of effort, the hard work and persistence required to achieve something meaningful. We live in a world that values instant results, but true success requires sustained effort over time. Whether it's building a career, creating a meaningful relationship, or improving your health, the journey is often long and challenging. The discomfort that comes from putting in consistent effort is part of the process. It's not easy, but it is necessary. The people who succeed are not those who avoid hard work, but those who are willing to endure it, who embrace the discomfort of pushing themselves day after day, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Facing discomfort is about developing the resilience to navigate life's challenges with strength and grace. Life will never be free of discomfort. It will always present obstacles, uncertainties, and moments of emotional pain. But it is through facing these challenges head-on that you build the inner strength needed to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. The more you embrace discomfort, the more you realize that it's not something to fear, but something to be grateful for. It is in those moments of discomfort that you find the seeds of growth, transformation, and greatness. So stop avoiding the uncomfortable, lean into it, embrace it, and watch how it transforms your life. In conclusion, the journey of fixing yourself is not one of perfection, but of continual growth. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and the courage to face discomfort. Each moment of procrastination, avoidance, or denial only pushes you further away from the person you are capable of becoming. The time to act is now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances are perfect. Embrace responsibility for your actions, understand your weaknesses, and confront the uncomfortable truths you've been avoiding. The longer you delay, the harder it becomes, and the more life slips away. By committing to self-improvement today through discipline, awareness, and the willingness to face discomfort, you can reclaim your power and shape the life you desire. It's never too late to change, but the sooner you start, the better the future you'll create. Take control of your life now before time runs out, and build a version of yourself that you can truly be proud of.